What's up, you guys? Welcome back. Today I am super excited because we're gonna do a little chill, get ready with me, chit chat, do our makeup together, but I'm putting a little twist on it and I'm going to be testing your favorite makeup hacks. I asked you guys on Instagram last night to send me like the most game-changing makeup hacks that have totally elevated your makeup routine, and you guys sent in so many good hacks. I was scrolling through them this morning on my phone and I was just like, oh my goodness. Like some that I've heard before that I haven't tried yet. Other ones I've never even heard of, but I feel like could be really good. So I'm really excited to test them all. Thank you to everyone who sent in all of these different hacks. I can't wait to test them out today. I also want to thank Bare Minerals for sponsoring a portion of today's video. So without further ado, make sure you guys subscribe to my channel if you have not already, and click the little bell right next to the subscribe button so you can be notified of all my future uploads. And let's go ahead and get started. All right, so I'm gonna just read the hacks right from my phone from you guys. The first one, they stipulated that this was great for dry skin. Y'all know I have dry skin, so I'm very excited about this. They said skip primer, instead spray water on the face before foundation, great for dry skin. So I was like, okay. Another common one people wrote in was to spray setting spray on your skin before you go in with foundation. I've done that before. I've tested that hack. It definitely does work, but this one, just using any old water, I feel like sounds more hydrating than a setting spray would be, and it's obviously a lot cheaper. So I was like, all right, let's give it a try. So I have this mister. Let me do a test run on my hand. Okay, it's a light mist. I'm gonna just spray this on my face. Okay, it's pretty high powered, but that actually felt really nice. Does my skin look glowing and hydrated? Also forgot to mention, I'm filming this in natural daylight because I really wanted to be like up close personal, be able to show you guys everything and the hacks on my skin. Let me know if you like that. I know the background isn't as pretty, but I'm just sitting in front of a big window right now. I have no studio lights or anything, so it's just purely natural daylight. So you guys can really see everything on my skin. But that definitely felt really nice. My skin feels nice and hydrated, so we'll see as we apply the foundation if it really makes a difference, but I don't mind it. We do have one step to do though before we go in with our foundation, because typically now I would go in with foundation as my second step, but one of the most commonly commented hacks was the underpainting technique. So basically what that means is you contour before you go in with your foundation. So I'm gonna do that today. I have done this a couple times before and it does look really pretty. So I'm gonna just go in and contour right where I normally would. I'm gonna just blend that out, tap it in. In my experience of doing this, it definitely gives a more natural contoured look, which if that's what you're looking for, it's perfect. Like on a more everyday basis, I feel like this is actually a really great technique. If you're doing some sort of like full out glam look and you really want like a chiseled face and contour, maybe do it second, like typically, you know, after your foundation, but this does look really nice and natural. So I do like doing this, especially on more natural days. I feel like it already looks really nice. And honestly, I feel like the water helped. Like that blended so easily and my skin still feels so quenched and hydrated. So I feel like that water hack is actually really good. I'm gonna just leave this on my vanity now and do a little water spritz before I get started with my makeup to add that extra surge of hydration. If you have dry skin like me, I do feel like it helped. Okay, now I got a lot of hacks in regards to foundation. So I'm gonna go with some of the more common ones. A very common one that I got that literally makes so much sense, and I can't believe that I haven't done this, is to only apply the foundation to the center of your face and then work your way out, which makes so much sense to me because typically we want the biggest amount of coverage like in the center areas of our face, kind of like that T-zone area, not really on like the sides of our face necessarily, so we can just kind of work it and blend it out towards the sides. But whenever I apply my foundation, I always start like on the sides of my cheeks where I want the least coverage instead of in the center of my face. So it makes so much more sense to do it in the center. So that's how we're gonna do it today. And I also got so many people that were like, use your fingers are your best friend. I have always been a brush or sponge girly, but the amount of you commenting, use your fingers, or a lot of people were like, start with your fingers, spread it out around your face, and then you can finish it off with a brush or sponge. So I think that's what I'm gonna do, but everyone was like, use your fingers, melt it into your skin, then go in with the tools. So that's what we're gonna do today. And we're gonna start by applying in the center of the face. So for my foundation, I'm gonna use this new one from Bare Minerals. This is so good. I have been loving it. It's the original pure serum. It's natural finish, SPF 20. If you guys have not tried this yet, I would highly recommend it. I'm gonna use shade medium neutral 3, and I'm gonna work it in with my fingers and then go in on my skin with this. It's basically a serum infused foundation. It's 93% skincare ingredients, so it honestly feels much more like a skincare product than it does a foundation, which I personally really like. And it's only made with 23 ingredients in total, which I also really like. Has a nice natural finish and just looks like your skin. And honestly, honestly, me applying it with my fingers is working very well, and I'm just doing it in the center part, and then we'll work it out. It has hyaluronic acid to plump the skin, glycerin to hydrate, and then it has white water lily flower, which actually helps to smooth the skin, and it's supposed to help smooth the skin within 7 days. And what I like too is even though it's very natural looking, it still does give a medium coverage to your skin, so it is going to still give you coverage. It's not like it's a super lightweight, almost no coverage product. Like, you're still gonna get coverage from it, but it's gonna look like your skin. And honestly, I feel like me just completely pressing this in with my fingers, it looks really nice. This is not typically I will apply it with a brush or a sponge, but it does look really pretty with just the fingers. You guys are honestly onto something. And I feel like applying it in the center and then working my way out gave me the maximum amount of coverage where I needed it, so that I didn't have to like overuse a ton of product. So I feel like I honestly don't even need a brush to like work it in, and it looks really good. So I will link this down below if you guys want to check it out. Like I said, it is new for Bare Minerals, but it's available now. And if you want something that's just gonna look like your skin but better, basically, highly recommend. Really nice, feels very light. Okay, up next, this hack is an interesting one, and one that I don't think I've ever tried before. And it says to apply eyeshadow primer underneath your eyes before concealer, no creasing in sight. So, because typically, you know, eyeshadow primer, we would put it on our eyelids before we go in with eyeshadow, but instead, we're gonna use some eyeshadow primer underneath the eyes. I'm not gonna go in with too much. Like, I literally got a tiny little dab there. Gonna blend it in and apply to my under eyes. It makes sense because eyeshadow primer helps to kind of smooth the lids and be a base for your eyeshadow to lock to. So it would make sense to put it underneath the eyes and that it should work in the same way. So we're gonna see, gonna tap that on there. And now another super common one that I got, I wanna get up the exact one because this one had a specific time limit on it. But the very common thing that I saw was to let your concealer sit on your under eyes before you blend it out to get like maximum amount of coverage. But I know there was one that said like a specific time. It was like, let it sit for, I wanna say 3 minutes, which to me kind of sounds like a long time, but I want to try it. Okay, yes, let concealer sit on your face 3 minutes before blending it in, more coverage and a lifesaver. So I'm gonna apply my concealer, I'm gonna let it sit, I'm gonna set a timer. 3 minutes, baby. So for this, I'm going to apply like all on the under eye instead of in targeted areas, since it's probably gonna like dry a little bit before we blend it. But just apply the concealer. Let me set a 3-minute timer on my phone. All right, got it set. So now I'm gonna wait 3 minutes and then we're gonna blend. All right, timer is almost up. 3, 2, 1. My phone is on silent, so it wasn't even going off anyways, but the timer just went off. All right, now let's go and blend and see. Okay, good thing it's still blending easily, because you do run the risk of trying this with a concealer. If it dries too quickly, it's not gonna work, obviously. This one, it worked really good actually, and I feel like it did give me more coverage. Okay. But you definitely only wanna try this with concealers that you know are like creamy and stay blendable, not ones that dry really quick, or you're just gonna be left with like stripes under your eyes that you can't really blend. But this is a good hack. That looks good. I like that one. And maybe the eyeshadow primer too, like working with it could have helped too. Like, it layered completely fine, the concealer, over the eyeshadow primer. Like, I feel like no issues with that. Y'all know what you're talking about. You have some good hacks. Okay, this next one is interesting, but I feel like could be really good. And quite a few people wrote this in. They said to mix a liquid blush with a lotion. I'm gonna use some face moisturizer just because I feel like if I use a body lotion, that's gonna be like a breakout waiting to happen for me. So I'm gonna get just some face moisturizer on the back of my hand. Then I'm gonna take liquid blush, I guess like equal parts, like that. And I'm gonna mix it together, because sometimes some of these blushes are so pigmented that it's like, I don't always want insanely pigmented blushes every single time. And this I think will give us a little bit of a lighter consistency. Honestly, this still looks pretty pigmented, but let's see. I'll tap with my fingers first and then I'll blend with a brush. Gonna just go in and tap it out. Oh, this is pretty. Y'all are right. Oh my gosh. It makes like a lighter, more hydrating sort of cream blush. So if you have like one cream blush that's super pigmented, you can use it super pigmented in its like true form, or you can mix it with a little bit of your face moisturizer on days when you want something lighter and get this pretty light kind of glowy blush. I'm gonna go in with a little bit more from my hand. You can definitely like amp it up too. Oh, this is actually a hack that I am totally gonna use, because that looks so pretty. I love that, wow. Just looks like light and natural. Super pretty. Okay, I zoomed you guys in a little more for this one, because if there is one hack that I was the most unsure about, it was this one, but we are going to try it. For this hack, I'm gonna put a little bit of concealer on my finger. And I'm gonna apply the concealer to my lashes, just a very, very little bit. Nothing crazy. So applying to the lashes. Now I'm getting some pressed powder on my fingers and I'm gonna apply that to the lashes. I'm gonna kind of close my eyes as I do this. Apply the pressed powder. And a lot of people said this hack too, and I have never tried this. I've heard applying the pressed powder to the lashes, but adding the concealer is interesting, but I feel like it makes sense because basically we have the concealer that's grabbing onto this pressed powder. So it's making it stay on the lashes. And now we're gonna go in with mascara. This is basically supposed to amp up the volume because you have like product on your lashes that's making them more like thicker. Basically the powder and the concealer. And honestly, it does work. Like I feel like my lashes do look thicker. Okay, this one's an interesting one because I feel like it could get very clumpy easily, because what you want to do is you want to make sure you don't use too much. Don't use too much concealer, don't use too much powder. Like if you saw me, I was really only using a very little amount, but I feel like it did amp up the thickness of my lashes. Like I feel like my lashes look pretty thick. Okay. Thought it was gonna be, I thought this one was where it was gonna go downhill. I was like, I really don't know if this is gonna work. And I thought it could definitely be a clumpy mess, but I feel like if you use the right amount, it works. Okay, this next one is so simple, but also makes so much sense to me. And I'm like, how have I not done this before? So a really common hack that I do is I use powder contour or powder bronzer and I'll apply it in my crease as an eyeshadow. I do that all the time. But one that I got a lot from you guys was using a cream bronzer as just an all over cream eyeshadow. And I was like, wait, that's literally so smart. But I don't think I've ever done that. I've always just used like a powder and applied in my crease instead of like all over as a base. So I'm gonna go in and apply on my lid. I should have done this before I did my lashes, but honestly, I forgot. I wrote a list of like the hacks that I wanted to do on my phone and I did them out of order. So I'm kind of doing this in the crease, but you guys get the picture. Like you could definitely put this all over the lid too, but just gives a natural little eyeshadow. Especially when I'm in a rush, I love using like multi-use sort of products so that I don't have to keep grabbing for new ones. So just using the bronzer all over the lid is amazing. And I like that. Super natural, but super pretty. And now another one, and this one is one of my personal favorite hacks, so I was so excited that you guys like this too, is using eyeshadow as eyeliner. Because we all know liquid eyeliner, like that's where it can all go downhill. Your arm goes a little bit the wrong direction, your hand, whatever, you can completely mess up your eye look, and I have done that so many times. It's liquidy, it can go everywhere, like depending on what you're using. It's definitely, I feel like the hardest part of makeup application, so I love using just a eyeshadow as eyeliner. It's much easier to work with because it's a powder instead of a liquid, so it's not super liquidy and not gonna move as much. And if you have really watery eyes, I feel like it personally lasts better. So I just have a little liner brush and I'm gonna grab some eyeshadow. I'm just using a dark brown matte shadow, but any eyeshadow will work, so any color that you want to use. You want to use blue, pink, yellow, brown, black, whatever. Just grab it on a liner brush and then you can go in, create a little wing and do your eyeliner. It also does give a bit of a softer, more diffused look, which I really like. And I feel like it's a lot easier to control than liquid liner, so I personally really like doing this and I feel like it's a great hack. Okay, this next hack is one that I recently have been doing a lot actually, and when I saw this person write it in, I was like, oh my god, like I love to do that too, and the way they wrote it was so perfect, so I want to get it up so I can read you like their exact instructions. All right, got it up. Use a lip liner, then tap in with your fingers to diffuse the color, then add a gloss, no lipstick to fill in. So this is something that I love doing, and I feel like weirdly enough, whenever I do this, it gives a bigger look to the lips than when you do the same steps and you apply lipstick. I don't know why, but if you just do lip liner and lip gloss, I feel like it gives the prettiest like juicy look to the lips. And whenever I do this, people always ask me like, oh, what is on your lips? And I'm like, it's not lipstick, it's just a gloss and a liner. So one thing with this though, because I have witnessed this myself many times, is it can go wrong. So I'm gonna give you my little tips too to make it look as natural as possible. You wanna go in with a lip liner that is very similar in color to your natural lips. So this is gonna be different for everybody, but just grab a liner that's like a nude or a light pink or whatever color your natural lip is. We basically just wanna have a clean border for our lips. So go in and line the lips. When I've done this in the past and I've used a lip liner that's like the tone is off or it's too dark, it can look weird and almost like unfinished without having that lipstick color all over our lips, because glosses typically are not super opaque, like you're gonna see through them more. So you wanna make sure you get a liner as close to your natural lip shade as possible and give your lips a border that still looks natural. So now that I did that, I'm gonna go in with my finger and just dab it in to blend it and make sure there's no harsh lines. This will also help to make it look more natural. Then go in with your gloss and apply all over the lips. And it just gives a really pretty natural, juicy look to the lips. Like almost the appearance like you're just wearing a lip gloss, but your lips look larger because we use that liner to go in and define the lip border. But we're not wearing any lipstick, so it looks a little bit more natural and laid back. I love doing this, and it's such a good little hack. So I was excited to see that you guys like this too. Okay, and then last but certainly not least, this is another one that was heavily written in. I believe Ali Glines is the original person who like started this hack, but many of you said spray a damp sponge with setting spray. So I'm gonna spray a sponge with my setting spray. I do feel like doing this, you're definitely gonna use more setting spray than if you were to just spray it directly on your face, but y'all definitely seem to swear by this, and then go in and press that on your makeup at the end. And this makes a lot of sense because instead of just spraying directly on the face, we're like actually pressing the setting spray into our skin and pressing the makeup into our skin to really set it. And I was most nervous that this was going to like make marks like on our skin, but it's not. So that is good. And I do feel like this would actually work really well. Like I said, again, you will use a bit more setting spray this way, but if it helps to really make the makeup last, then that's awesome. And it feels nice too. It feels nice and hydrating, which I like as like a final little step. And honestly, we have such a pretty like little natural look today. I like it, you know, just easy every day. And y'all know the good hacks. You guys had a lot of good ones. So we can definitely do more of these. Be sure to follow me on Instagram. It's at Strack Official. It's like the easiest way for me to poll you guys, where I can just ask you questions and you can write in. So I can definitely do more of these. I want to do another video too where I like test your favorite makeup products. So I can definitely do that as well. But this was super fun. I hope that you guys enjoyed. Thank you for writing in the hacks and hanging out with me today. And I will see you guys very soon in my next video. Bye.